Now to Provo, Utah, where the accused assassin of conservative activist Charlie Kirk was back in court today. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was shackled at the waist as he watched his defense attorneys argue pretrial motions that could impact whether he gets the death penalty. Among them, the defense is trying to get the prosecution team tossed from the case. They claim that there is a disqualifying conflict of interest. The key fact is that the daughter of a deputy county attorney was actually in the crowd at the rally when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So, will that make a fair prosecution impossible, as the defense argues? Today, the county attorney said no, denying that the daughter's presence at that rally had any impact on any prosecutorial decisions.
This is somebody that happened to be there. That has, I mean, what we're concerned about is the evidence supporting the charges. That's first and foremost. And that has nothing to do with somebody that happened to be there. I mean, quite frankly, completely irrelevant to anything that matters in the case.
The defense is also trying to stop prosecutors from introducing graphic video of the assassination at the trial. And another hot topic, whether cameras should be allowed in the courtroom during the trial. The defense is making a strong push against it. Remember, the widow of Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, wants cameras in the courtroom and has been very public about pushing for that. This hearing just literally stopped about 12 minutes ago. Let's go live to NewsNation's Alex Caprariello, who was in the courtroom in Provo, Utah, all day long. So, Alex, during the hearing, the 18-year-old daughter, who's at the center of this conflict of interest concern, she took the stand, as did her father, who's a county attorney. What did they both say?
Yeah, very fascinating to hear both of these testimonies, both of them essentially getting a grilling from the defense and the prosecutors about what was and was not seen. Of course, the cameras pulled out of the courtroom to protect the privacy of this daughter, an 18-year-old freshman at Utah Valley University. And she explained just that moment of what it was like before Charlie Kirk arrived on the stage, the excitement that she was feeling in that moment, and then immediately after that first gunshot rang out, the fear that really gripped her as she ran for her life and away from the stage, not really knowing what exactly went down. And that point right there is really critical here, Elizabeth, because she says she did not see anything. She didn't see Charlie Kirk get shot. In fact, she didn't even know that he was shot until after the fact and that information came out. And so the prosecution really leaning in on that point, saying that she is not a material witness for this and therefore does not present any sort of conflict of interest. To your point, the father taking the stand next, he's Deputy County Attorney Chad Grunander. He was also grilled about his involvement in this prosecution of the defendant, Tyler Robinson, since this all went down, including why he didn't disclose right away that his daughter was present, and also why he was actually out there collecting evidence at the scene of the crime for the county attorney's office, and beyond that, too, why also he was involved in the conversations about seeking the death penalty when he knew that his daughter was present there. So now what happens next? 3 weeks from now, there is another WebEx hearing, meaning a virtual hearing for Tyler Robinson. That's when we expect the judge to actually issue his decision about what really stands for this conflict of interest and whether or not these prosecutors should be kicked off the case.
And when will the judge rule on whether or not there'll be cameras in the courtroom during the trial? That's the third issue in dispute here.
Yeah, again, in 3 weeks' time, they need to look at precedent and other cases. Okay. A lot of conversation happening about whether or not cameras should be involved, as well as regular media members as well.
All right, Alex Caprariello in Provo, Utah, covering all the dramatic developments there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.